Hello, everyone. Welcome to Unbelievable World.
Bear comes out, yell at it. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Get out of here, bear! Wait in the water.
At one point, these little penguins were in pretty rough shape, suffering from malnutrition, dehydration, and anemia. But with proper care and treatment, they slowly regained their strength and made a remarkable recovery. And now, after everything they've been through, the happiest moment has finally arrived. It's time to return home, back to the environment they know and love. At Gir National Park in India, this dedicated team of women forest rangers works to rescue injured and endangered leopards. After receiving the care and medical treatment they need, one of the team's most important jobs is making sure these beautiful animals can safely return to the wild. This tiger had wandered into several nearby villages, creating a dangerous situation for both the animal and the local residents. Once authorities were alerted, India's Forest Department quickly stepped in and safely rescued the tiger. After making sure it was healthy and ready to return, they released it back into its natural habitat, the dense forests of the Sundarbans. One of the world's most iconic and endangered big cats is finally heading back home. Far away from the noise and crowds of human life, this Bengal tiger is returning to the safety of the deep forest, where it can once again roam freely and start a new chapter of its life in the wild. Getting caught in that open trap may have been one of the most frightening moments of its life, but thanks to a timely rescue, what could have been a tragedy became the beginning of a second chance. Moments like this remind us just how important it is to protect wildlife and give these animals a safe chance to survive in the wild. Sea turtles can travel thousands of miles across the open ocean, sometimes spending years on the move. Yet somehow, they find their way back to the very same beach where they were born. After such an incredible journey, they return to the place they call home. And perhaps somewhere along that shore, another reunion is waiting. It's just a matter of time. Finally, the wait is over. After being rescued and cared for in British Columbia, Canada, these adorable harbor seal pups are finally heading back to the ocean. Once weak and vulnerable, they're now strong enough to return to the life they were meant to live. And watching them make their way into the water together is truly a beautiful sight, a heartwarming end to a successful rescue and rehabilitation. After spending time behind the safety of a cage, these 3 giraffes are finally returning to where they truly belong. They've been released into the vast natural surroundings of the Ukuwela Conservation Area, where a whole new life now awaits them. Once weak and struggling, these elephant seals have finally returned to the ocean after a long rehabilitation. Their strength is back, and now they're ready to begin a new chapter of life in the wild. The cage door was once closed to keep this bear safe, but today, that same door is opening the way to freedom. In just a few moments, this bear will be back where it belongs, in the quiet of the forest, breathing the fresh air and living free once again. Releasing these tiny fish into the water might seem like a simple moment, but these little lives could one day help bring an entire river ecosystem back to life. One by one, they're making their way into the water and beginning a brand new journey in the wild. As the door opens, this massive animal slowly steps out. Just moments ago, it was under human care. But now, it's finally heading back to where it truly belongs.
That's on the rock, yeah.
Yeah.
One by one, these wild buffalo were released from the truck. With the sound of drums echoing around them and a vast open landscape stretching out ahead, they quickly gathered together and headed toward the open plains, as if they had finally found their way back to freedom. After a life behind the bars of a cage, the moment they've been waiting for has finally arrived. One by one, the birds are brought to the riverside, and then the path to freedom is finally opened.
All right, last one.
Releasing a powerful predator like this is never a simple moment. As the door is carefully opened, the Eurasian lynx slowly steps outside. Within moments, it leaves the familiar world of humans behind and begins its journey back into the wild.
After a life confined to a cage, this parrot is finally getting the chance to see the open sky. Slowly released into the forest, it takes off within moments, returning to the world where it truly belongs, where every flap of its wings means freedom. After being in captivity for so long, the cage door finally opens. The bird pauses for a moment, looks around, and then spreads its wings and flies into the open sky. The moment they were released into the open field, the two hawks didn't hesitate for a second. They spread their wings and took off toward the familiar sky they called home.
And they're both flying well.
When drought dries up their water sources, alligators sometimes leave their familiar habitats in search of a place where they can survive. They may turn up near canals, in people's yards, or even right in the middle of busy cities. Recently, a small alligator was found in the parking lot of a hotel in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Wildlife experts later carefully rescued it and relocated it to a safer, more suitable habitat. Rescuing a small animal from danger and safely returning it to the wild is never an easy task. This person carefully transported the animal in a vehicle to a safe location. Then, deep in the forest, they released it back into the wild so it could stay away from people and return to its natural way of life. Sometimes, one small act of kindness can completely change an animal's life.
Good grief.
This Andean condor was rescued after being found injured in the vast mountain region of Argentina. At the time, it was so weak that it couldn't even take flight on its own. But after months of medical treatment, care, and rehabilitation, the long-awaited moment finally arrived. As the cage door opened,
it seemed to recognize the familiar sky and the feeling of freedom once again. The biologists at the Rehabilitation Center named him Janiku, which means healing water in Quechua. And today, after such a long journey, Janiku is finally ready to spread his wings and return to the sky where he belongs. Led by a female police officer, this snake was safely transported by jeep deep into the forest. Far away from human settlements, it was released back into its natural habitat. Within moments, the snake quietly made its way into the forest and disappeared, returning to the place where it truly belongs.
Smell.
These moments of freedom remind us that every wild animal deserves the chance to live freely in its natural habitat. Stay with Unbelievable World for more incredible moments like this.